And after a few conversations with Mike and over the years, I admittedly thought, like, here's this typical Orange County wealthy businessman in his bubble who thinks that basically anybody who doesn't think like him or not successful like him is lazy or stupid or immoral.
I never said stupid.
Or something to that effect, you know. And I was really anxious to basically share my own personal experiences with him and my own political knowledge, and basically wanted to argue with him. But that was my original intention going out. So that's what kind of went down the next day.
Well, little did Chris know that appearance of success that once was there, in reality, since the Depression, they call it a recession, certainly it's a depression for everybody who's living it. Little did he know that I sold a house that I had built and had lived in for 22 years to come up with the cash to take care of my mom and dad, who I took out of a nursing home, to provide for them, and to feed my business, which had been losing money. Never lost money ever until 2008, 9, 10. It was going down, and I'm pushing money into it to try to figure out a way to survive it myself. But he didn't know that. But when we sat down for lunch that day, the next day, I brought out my iPhone and I put it on the table, and I put out 45 minutes on the timer, and I said, Chris, when this goes off, whoever's talking can wrap up what they're saying, the other person can respond, and I got to go back and make a living. By the time we'd finished talking, at 45 minutes later, and we started off, I forget the issues that came up, didn't really matter, but he'd say, and I'd respond with something and say, well, nobody's ever explained it to me like that. And then he'd come up with some other wild-ass thing, and I'd say something else, and he'd say, well, why doesn't people speak like that to real people? Why can't I? Now, that makes sense.
He had a couple of out there thoughts too himself.
By the end of that lunch, we knew something had been sparked between us.
Yeah, it's true, and something had been sparked, and so we decided to meet the next week. And after that talk, it became the week after that, and then the week after that, it became every week, with emails exchanges in between, phone calls in between. And Mike knows this. He infuriated the crap out of me. He's like,
the shit you sent me that I had to read? Man.
It was one of those, but admittedly, neither one of us, I think, had ever really truly listened to the other, to basically his perspective side, our sides. We had kind of stuck to our own particular sources, our own friends, our own environment. And, you know, I think what we were talking was probably just the same regurgitation of the same cliches you hear in the media and whatnot. But there was an undoubtable mutual respect between us.